All right, guys, welcome to this amazing breakdown video that you're about to learn from. I'm going to be breaking down CADCHF trade that I took, but at the same time, I'm going to be showing you the uniqueness of CADCHF and how you can properly approach it and trade. Also using my rules of engagement, aligning structure, liquidity and POI. And also the special thing that I said I wanted to tell you about CADCHF and how well CADCHF, respects what most people don't really consider like more recently in trading, and that is channels. I remember when we started trading in those days in like 2020, 2019, and one of the major retail strategies we trade is, dynamic support and resistance. And dynamic support and resistance can, come in different, formats. Joining dynamic support and dynamic resistance in a particular trading move could form, series of shapes, and we called it names like, bearish flag, bullish flag, wedge, descending triangle, ascending triangle, most of all those things that we traded then in isolation. And right now, everybody is just concentrated on ICT concepts, smart money concepts, and whatsoever concept they are trading. And they just neglect some of these, old retail strategies, and they still actually work. And I'm going to be showing you how I used it, of course, in confluence with my own strategy to catch a very nice trade. And I'm just going to quickly do a top-down analysis for you so you can see. So this is what I have for CADCHF. Obviously, this is my daily time frame. Of course, whenever you want to trade, always go to the higher time frame so you can see the general framework of the market. So for what we have here, we can see that we are obviously melting down. If you go to the weekly, we are obviously melting down. Like we are seriously in a downtrend, all right? And of course, the trend is your friend, okay? The trend is your friend. You keep trading in a particular direction until price says otherwise. So this is my weekly time frame. Obviously, we have been melting down. Okay, sorry, let me make this black. So obviously, we have actually been melting down. We have been melting down. See price, just melting down and forming series of lower highs and lower lows, blah, 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 blah. Okay? So, and this was the current position of price. This was the current place that I saw price before I decided to trade. Okay, so having seen the general and the bigger structure, we now have to zoom in and see what is actually going on with respect to the immediate structure. So looking at the immediate structure here, look at how, bearish weekly is. So looking at the immediate structure, we can see that price is obviously in a downward trend. We are still melting down. So it will be very much unwise for you to want to, trade buys for a long time. Of course, you can trade buys as retracement, but you need to just, respect the bearish order flow or, the bearish movement or bearish direction and confluence it with your strategy and trade very well. Okay. Like I said, I focus on structure. That's number one. Number two, liquidity and, POIs. All right. So let me factor that in. So this is my, structure. All right. So with respect to my immediate structure, we can see that, of course, we had this last obvious low that price took to the downside. All right. We created a low. Just looking at the immediate structure, we can see that we've been bearish low, high, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. All right. So we are still trading in the downward direction. All right, we are still trading in downward direction. So let me go to my daily and see things for myself. All right. So on my daily time frame, I can see that there is even no sign of bearishness. I mean, there is no sign of bullishness at all. Let me mark my immediate structures and see. So we had price take out this low, right? We formed a new low here. We formed a new low. Price came to create a high. All right, formed a new low here. If we look at this very well, we had broken structure to the downside. Okay, this is breakout structure to the downside. So this is a retracement. This is a retracement. This is a retracement. And obviously, we traded to this area here. We had this little retracement, before we attained this low. Okay. So, with respect to what price is doing, I'm obviously still going to be sell biased. Okay, as much as price keeps, taking out lows and keep taking out lows. Let me go to my, my 8-hour time frame and see, start going down to, the different time frames until you see things that are very, 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 very important to you. Okay. So one thing that I said that I want to bring to your notice about, CADCHF is how well they respect, retail patterns. But then it will now be wise of you to confluence it with your, normal strategy. If you look at how price has been behaving from here, you will see that just before any expansion, connect the dynamic support and resistance, you will see that, of course, I know this is a breakout structure, but you will see how price, did its thing. So we can see how, price was respecting. You can see how price was respecting, this dynamic support and resistance until we expanded to the upside. Okay. Whenever we have a range structure or whenever price is in a range, it simply means that, price wants to expand. So we can see what price did here. This is a channel. Okay. And what happened? We expanded to the upside. If you look, price just likes, going into channels and using that to, to expand or to do whatever price wants to do. You can see this one that occurred here, dynamic support and resistance until price tapped into this area, fell down and was sweeper. Even when price took out this low, this break of structure here, when price took out this break of structure, what happened? Of course, my normal strategy, price takes out break of structure, we need to investigate the supply that took out structure and that engineer liquidity for it. Okay, and the obvious supply that I can see, you can see this liquidity, around here, and we can see this obvious supply. Okay, we can see this supply right here. All right, so we may have marked this for our entries. This is actually, I actually took this trade. This was a trade that I took. All right. So this was a trade that I actually took. So this was a trade that I actually took. Very nice supply. This was a supply region, right? This was a supply that I wanted to take the trade. But another confluence that I had was, the channel that CADCHF formed. You can see the dynamic support. You can see the dynamic support right here. Okay. And we can also see the dynamic resistance. So for those trading channel alone, they would have, gotten an entry. For those trading channel alone, they would have gotten an entry around here. I think so if you look at this, you can see the dynamic support, resistance support, just obeying channel until price got to the POI and then sold. I partook of this trade. Okay, I partook of this trade. My stop color is usually this, and my sell color is usually blue. Sorry. My target color for sell is usually blue. Okay, so this was a very nice trade. So we can see how before any major expansion, price enters into, some certain kind of range, and of course, our next external liquidity right here. All right. So now let's now come to this recent trade that I took. Okay, let's come to this recent trade that I took. If you even look at this, before this mini expansion to the downside, price did enter into a certain range. Okay, CADCHF is fond of this. You don't want to neglect channels, but then confluence it with your strategy. Okay, you don't want to neglect channels. You can see how price did this thing. What happened? We had a drop here from this exact point. So for those trading trend lines here, they might actually survive, but then whatever thing I notice work for a pair, I always confluence it with what I already have. Do not change your system, but you can incorporate things into your system, but do not change your system. So let's go back to my strategy now. So look at the place where I made charts. Of course, all what is happening here is consolidation, and I know that we want to expand. Okay, from the law of cause and effect, an effect in the foreign exchange market based on Wyckoff is expansion. For an expansion to take place, okay, there has to be a cause, and that cause is a consolidation. So anytime you see price consolidating, consolidation doesn't mean that price must move sideways. Okay, it can just move in a certain regular pattern. This right here is a consolidation. Consolidation, expansion. Consolidation, expansion. This right here is consolidation, expansion. All these that happened right here is consolidation for this expansion. All right. So as much as we had this consolidation, expansion, all right, this bigger picture is also consolidating, and we are bearish. Momentum is to the downside. Structure is also to the downside. So we want to trade to the downside. All right. So let's see. So obviously we are actually bearish. This was the last major low that price created. Okay, this was the last major low that price created, and I spotted something very nice here. Number one, we've been trending downward. Okay, the first thing I spotted was price grabbing liquidity right here. We had a grab of liquidity. We had a grab of liquidity here. Okay. I want to reduce the size of this 16. So we had a grab of liquidity here. And the last low that price attained here was a break of structure. A grab of liquidity, and we can see that we have actually broken below this guy, a break of structure, BOS. BOS, all right? A grab of liquidity to the upside, break of structure to the downside. And of course, you know how I trade. How I trade is normally, we having a zone. For example, let's say we have a zone, and price breaks structure or price trades low, engineers liquidity right before my POI, then creates a new low. Okay, I want to trade above this incomplete pullback to validate this base. Price comes here and I actually want to sell. All right, and this could be that we've maybe initially been in a downtrend, right? Let's say we have something like this. Let's say we have something like this, that price had retraced and came here to form this, which is what is forming right here. So this is more or less like, break or structure to the downside, my intent. All right, this is like my intent, break or structure, more like the external liquidity that I used to tell you guys in my strategy. All right, price grabs external liquidity. But before price grabbed external liquidity, price was coming from somewhere, a zone. This was a zone. Price came, engineer liquidity before grabbing external liquidity. So this here is the incomplete pullback, which is going to serve as our inducement that price would need to come and grab. This is how I trade. If you have watched my video, you will know. Okay, so I actually want to trade from here. All right, I actually want to trade from here, which is exactly what is actually forming here. Okay, so but this just even confirms, this gave me a strong high. This is a strong high, grab of liquidity, price engineer liquidity, and break structure. So if I want to buy, if I want to sell rather, I want to sell, above this liquidity that was created before price grabbed external liquidity. Okay, before price broke this structure. So this was a very nice trade. So let me this is my 8 hour, and for my 8 hour, the zone looks quite big. So I need to go to some lower time frame to see But of course, we could actually still, use this 8 hour to trade or anywhere above this liquidity point. Okay, this liquidity here, anywhere above this liquidity is okay to actually sell. Okay, but then we are always looking for good, risk to reward, and we're always looking for good risk to reward so that we can benefit a lot from whatever trade that we are trading. So this was it. So let's go to 4 hour. So when I went to 4 hour, I started, spotting out for some nice areas that I want to snipe from. And I saw something very, very nice. Okay. I saw one of my entry models too. I can use order block, I can use fair value gap, and I can use key levels. I spotted a key level right here. Let me make it tick black. So I spotted a key level right here. Okay. This is a very nice level. If you go to the line chart, you will see it. Okay, this was a support. What happened? Price broke it, reacted, took it downward. Price went, reacted from it, broke it again, came to react. This is a very key level. It's a nice key level that I would want to set as my entry. But of course, anywhere above this is valid to enter, and point of evaluation will just be above this. But of course, we always look for ways to want to reduce our our stop loss. Okay, so this was my area where I wanted to sell, and my entry was there right here, and my stop loss was just above this region here. Okay, let me make this white. It's in. So my stop loss was just above here, and of course we needed to trade downward. Now, because of the fact that there is no prior or there's no previous information that I could use as my TP. Okay, normally I would have wanted to put TP here, but we are still obviously bearish. This is just 1:3, and I wanted more from this trade. Okay, and I told you how price usually obey channel. If you go backwards, there is no previous data that I can want to say, oh, price can bounce off this zone or this resistance, this support or this other block or this fair value gap. Nothing like that, right? We are just melting down. But at the same time too, you need to take profits. So I knew that CADCHF is a pair that, supports those retail channel. So when I connected the dynamic resistance, when I connected the dynamic resistance from here, touched this guy, and I brought it down. Okay, this could also be a confluence for me to enter. Okay, and if I connect the dynamic supports down here, okay, look at the support. We had this low here. So I connected this low, this low, and I drew it down here. So I drew this down here for my take profit. So this was where I wanted to take profit. This was where I wanted to take profit based on my retail strategy or based on the channel, this bigger channel that price was forming. Okay, so this was it. So this even confluenced perfectly with my entry. This is the retail strategy. If you want to do the dynamic support resistance, one touch, two touch, and price is coming for the third touch. So look at how price has been obeying channels, and I wanted that to happen for this too. But it was in line with my strategy. All right. So I gave this to my mentees. I broke it down for them. I explained it to them before it played out. I gave it to my mentees, gave it to all the groups that I'm, giving value to, and I waited for this trade to be implemented. So let's see what price did. All right. Then price, went up, and price, sniped our entry. Okay. So I think my M3 was the trend line. So price sniped our entry, okay? And we can see what price did. Price started dropping and dropped and dropped until price smashed our targets, okay? Price smashed, in fact, price even went further down, but it smashed our targets. All right, you can see my entry right there on the screen. Perfectly executed, perfectly executed. So I hope this is an eye-opener. Like you can see how you can, confluence retail with whatever strategy that you are actually trading. All right, and you will still catch, quality trades. Okay, you will still catch quality trades. So price smashed our target. Price smashed our target perfectly. Okay, perfectly. So strong high, grab of liquidity, liquidity engineered, break of structure, price went to tap into this, and we flew, okay? So at this point, you don't just want to, buy when price gets there. That's what I'm telling you, that you need to ensure that you apply wisdom, okay? Even if you want to buy retracements, because price has gotten to targets, there's no prior data. Even if you want to buy, let price usher you in. Let price tell you, I think I want to buy, okay? Still apply your strategy, okay? So price started, building up, and I got interested in this trade, okay? So when price did this, I further held, a meeting with my mentee, and I told them where I was interested in buying CADCHF if price gives me opportunity. So let's look at this immediate trend that came downward to, hit this target and break this low here, because we know that this was our last low that price has broken. All right. So we may want to retrace to the upside to seek maybe more liquidity, internal liquidity to the upside before going for another move downward again. Okay, but then we have gotten to here and price has started building bullish momentum, right? So when price got here, we had a high, we had a low, we pushed higher here. So let's see this immediate structure. This immediate structure, look how price did. We had a high, a low, a high, a low, a high, a low. We had a lower low here. We had a higher, this is a lower high. We had a higher low and price moved upward. So this is a break of structure for me. If at all I want to attempt a buy, this right here is a BOS. Okay? If I want to attempt a buy, I don't just buy foolishly because price is obeying channel. No. So this is a BOS. So this is a BOS. All right. And from how I trade, price will grab external liquidity or break structure, but engineer liquidity before breaking structure. All right. So if we look at the engineer liquidity before price broke structure, this low is a low that I want to consider as liquidity. This low is a low I want to consider as liquidity, XXX. And this right here is going to be, the zone I want to buy, the zone below this area here. Okay. So this is where I'm expecting, buys to happen if at all I want to buy. All right. And I've analyzed it for my mentees already, and we are waiting. So for my buys, I use green for my buys. Green. Okay, so this is where I'm expecting price, to buy from, and of course, I'm targeting somewhere here. Okay, just in case we want to continue downward. All right, so this is what I have for CAD CHF. Let me see, let price finish for me. All right, so this is the current position of price. So we are still more or less like, ranging now. Okay, we are still more or less like ranging, and price may just grab everybody or the liquidity, tap into here, then before we move. But this is the current position of CADCHF, and I'm expecting or I'm hoping for this buy to hold so we can trade a little up and probably see how to continue downward, or maybe the major buy move has started. All right, so this is very, very simple. All right. This is how simply you can trade CADCHF. And I want to believe that the explanation that I gave in this video is quite explanatory, and you can use that to improve your technical skill on the chart. All right. And if you have problems understanding the chart, you want to subscribe to mentorship, you can always check the description and contact me personally so that you can join the 2026 mentorship, or if it is one-on-one that you want, so that I can explain charts to you and break everything down into the atom of it. Not all mentors who know how to trade know how to teach. I'm one of those mentors that can actually really teach. And I only say it on my YouTube. I don't like people to think I'm chasing mentorship money or whatsoever. If you see the value in my video and you feel like, oh, I want to learn from Mr. Peak, I want to, learn more and be more under him, of course, you can always contact me. So, and how I do my mentorship is that after teaching you my strategy, all right, after teaching you my strategy, I put you into my mentorship channel, the general group where you can also be with profitable traders. That's number one. Then number two, you'll be in a community as well where I post my trade ideas and also do weekly market analysis just to, give you the edge or an edge every single week. So you just don't trade and miss. You also know that, oh, look at Mr. Pick's thought process and align it with yours and to make you make better decision. Then lastly, you have a personal group, a journaling group, where only you and I will be in the group. And whatever trade that you want to take, I'll be giving you assignment. Whatever trade that you want to take, you post the before and the reason why you are taking the trade. And when the trade plays out, you post the after, whether it's in profit or loss. And we'll use that to track your consistency over a period of 6 to 7 months until you get to a level where you know that, oh, you can actually trade profitable on your own. You have an edge in line with a certain risk management approach that you have mastered, and you can now use that to replicate results over the years. So if you're interested in quality mentorship, ensure to contact me and let's move it from there. Follow me on all social media platforms. My contents are quite explanatory. My contents are funny. My contents are life-changing. My podcast is also life-changing. So just ensure you connect with me everywhere. On Instagram, Mr. Peak FX, YouTube, Mr. Peak FX, Twitter, Mr. Peak FX, everywhere, Mr. Peak FX. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel, share this video so that others can see it and benefit from it. And have a wonderful time trading. God bless you. Bye-bye.